What's up, everybody? Story Sage here. And Kaiju number 8 season 2 is here. Well, kinda. The first official episode that's canon to the main storyline is supposed to release on July 19th. It'll cover chapters 39 and 40, maybe some of 41, and it should end around chapters 69 or 70. But before we take a look forward at season 2, let's take a look back at season 1. Season 1 of Kaiju number 8 is packed full of goodies that set up this incredible world Nayo Mashimoto created for us. We get introduced to the everyday threat of Kaiju, their ranking and power system, 4 to 2 levels, and the different classifications of Kaiju within the world. First, we have the Yoju. They're the small to medium-sized Kaiju. They typically fall around the Honju, and they have a 42 level below 6.0. Next, we have the Honju. They're the larger, much more powerful Kaiju, typically capable of destroying cities, as big as skyscrapers, and sometimes they could even create their own Yoju, and they're a fortitude level of 6.0 or higher. Last, we have the true monsters of the group, the Dai Kaiju. The Dai Kaiju are numbered just like Kaiju number 8, and they have a fortitude level of 8.0 or higher, fortitude levels being Japan's way of ranking and scaling a Kaiju's power. Who fights these giant monsters, you may ask? Well, that would be the Japanese Defense Force, or the JDF for short. How do these normal humans fight these giant monsters? They must have some really crazy powers like elemental control, maybe even some ki blasts. Nope. Well, kinda again. Let me explain. The JDF has a thing called combat suits. These combat suits are made out of Kaiju muscle fibers. The better you are using your suit, or the higher your unleashed combat power is, the stronger, faster, and tougher you are, the stronger your weapon becomes, and you could use the suit to stop bleeding from whatever wounds you may have suffered during battle. And just for a point of reference, about 10% unleashed combat power, according to Vice Captain Hoshina, is a good number for a recruit, while 90+% is where the vice captains and captains rank at with their unleashed combat power. And man, these suits are absolutely insane. I wish I had one. Comment below what you think your unleashed combat power would be if you had a combat suit. But that's not all. You remember the big bad Dai Kaiju I mentioned earlier? Yeah, the JDF will turn their corpses into powerful anti-Kaiju weapons, and they call them, you guessed it, numbered weapons. They're given their number based off whatever Dai Kaiju corpse they're used, like weapons number 2 is from Kaiju number 2, the same Kaiju or numbered weapon that Director Shinomiya uses whenever him and Kaiju 8 have their fight, if you want to call it that, at the end of season 1. Now you tell me who the real monsters are in this story. Kofka Hibino is our main character. He's always wanted to join the JDF and be a cool defense force officer. I mean, who wouldn't be in this world, right? I mean, he even made a promise to his childhood best friend that they would do it together way back when. Unfortunately, Kafka could not keep that promise and ended up a 32-year-old monster sweeper. After giving up on his dream, Kafka meets Rino Ichikawa. More on him in a second. Rino is able to reignite the spark and ambition in Kafka to pursue his dream one more time, and they make a pact to try out for the JDF together. Before Kafka and Rino are able to try out for the Japanese Defense Force, they get attacked by a Yoju, and they survive the attack, but they do get hospitalized from this. And while recovering, a relatively small bug-like Kaiju flies in the room from the open window and attacks Kafka. And this ends up resulting in Kafka turning into a Dai Kaiju of all things, or Kaiju number 8. And he has a fortitude level of 9.8. That puts him on a scale higher than every other kaiju we could introduce to in the story so far. I think that creates a really cool dynamic for Kaiju number 8 and Kafka and Reno. It kind of sets up like a Saitama and Genos kind of relationship or dynamic. But more on that in a later date. For now, let's go over the rest of our characters. We first get introduced to Reno whenever he becomes a monster sweeper and a co-worker to Kafka. Kafka's perspective, he's just some 18-year-old kid who doesn't know how tough the real world is yet, and Reno's dream is to become a JDF officer and save people, just like Kafka's dream used to be. On top of that, Reno is with Kaka during the first time he transforms into a kaiju, the whole being hospitalized situation, and he still sticks by his side to help Kafka throughout the whole journey, even though he is a kaiju, the very thing that Reno wants to destroy. It's a very, very good character-defining moment for Reno. Kikuro Shinomiya is an absolute badass. She's the prodigy of the rookie class that herself, Kafka, and Reno are all a part of and becomes a valedictorian. She's the daughter of the director of the JDF, Iso Shinomiya, and it's her plea that she makes to her father that gives Kafka the chance to prove his humanity whenever they have their whole fight at the end of season 1. Mina Ashro, she's the captain of the 3rd division within the JDF, and she's clearly a cut above everyone else we see in terms of destructive power. She's such a great captain, she becomes a celebrity within the citizens and the JDF and media alike, but most importantly, she is the childhood best friend we referenced earlier. Kafka's childhood best friend, where they made the promise together to both become really cool JDF officers and kill all of the kaiju. Which, of course, introduces a really unique twist that her best friend, or childhood best friend Kaka, is now one of the same kaiju she swore to kill. Of course, I'd be remiss to leave Kaiju number 9 out of this video. He's the story's main big bad. He's a direct foil to Kaiju number 8. They're literally the same, but opposites, very similar to Luffy and Blackbeard. Kafka's a human who has the ability to transform into a kaiju. Kaiju number 9 is a kaiju that has the ability to transform into humans. Kaiju number 8 relies on his kaiju form's immense power, while Kaiju number 9 relies on his schemes and planning and his human disguises to achieve his goals. So even though he's still really powerful, they're both using the abilities of each other's species to accomplish their goals. And Kaiju number 9 is also the one responsible for the Honju attack we see in episode 6, as well as Kaiju number 10 attacking Division 3's base. This dude's a true menace. At the end of season 1, Kaka has to transform in front of the entire Division 3 to be able to save him, or he has to let him die. So of course, he decides to save him, revealing his true kaiju form, and as a result, they have to arrest him, and the JDF's top brass set him for execution immediately. But thanks to the bonds he made with his fellow JDF officers and them vouching, especially Kikuro talking to her father, the director of the JDF, and then vouching for him, it gives Kafka the chance to prove his humanity by fighting a beast. Thankfully, Kafka's able to retain his humanity and prove it through the trial the director puts him through, getting his execution deferred. In the meantime, Kafka has to be put under the direct supervision of JDF's strongest officer. No spoilers here, not gonna get into all the details about him, y'all let me know if you want to learn more. The Division 3 rookies are also being split up because of the giant Yoju bomb that trashed Division 3's base. It rendered it essentially inoperable, leaving it unfit for the rookies. So season 2 is going to be set up with all the main rookies being stationed at other divisions, giving us the opportunity to really get exposure to all the other divisions and introduce new cool characters. And of course, Kaiju number 9 is still out there cooking up his next scheme, and I can't wait to see what it is. But this is the Kaiju number 8 season 1 recap. everything you need to know to be ready for season 2. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, staying up to date with all my recent videos, and comment below who your favorite character from season 1 is. Until next time, peace.